On two occasions now, we have seen MMA fighters go and challenge the best boxers in their respective weight class at their own sport. Conor McGregor started it in 2017 against Floyd Mayweather and took Floyd 10 rounds. Last year, as I'm sure you all remember, Francis Ngannou took on Tyson Fury and gave him one of his most difficult fights of all time. As MMA fans, when our representative goes into boxing, a point we often bring up is how one-sided the match would be if the roles were reversed, if the boxer was to step in the octagon. With Ryan Garcia going on the MMA Hour and calling out Sean O'Malley to fight in MMA, we might be close to seeing it happen. But how would it go down? I can say without a doubt that Ryan Garcia would not make it out of the first round. Not many new fans know this, but a boxer has tried their hand in the octagon before. Back in 2010, James Toney, an American heavyweight boxer with 77 wins, decided to step in the octagon against Randy Couture. In less than 15 seconds, Mr. Toney found himself laying on his back helpless as Randy sat on top of him laying down ground and pound. After Randy got bored of throwing punches, he decided to throw Toney into a head and arm choke, which ended the fight in the first round. Toney never got to land a single punch, and what you should take away from this fight is that this was at heavyweight, where wrestling and jiu-jitsu is not as effective as it is in the lower weight classes. If Ryan Garcia was to step in the octagon, not only do I think Sean can submit him within the first round, but I think Sean can TKO him within the first round as well. In boxing, you only have to worry about two hands coming at you. In MMA, you can strike with your hands, elbows, knees, legs, and if you're Conor McGregor, you can strike with your shoulders as well. I think if Ryan Garcia went to an MMA gym today and took a calf kick from a professional fighter, I think that he would change his mind very quickly and apologize to Sean. Not only would a few leg kicks be more than enough to stop the fight, but it could possibly injure Garcia to a point where it could prevent him from fighting for a while. If you still think Ryan has a chance, listen to his reasoning for why he thinks he can beat Sean.
There were a lot of tweets from you. One was about Sugar Sean O'Malley.
Oh yeah, bring that motherfucker on. I'll beat his ass in MMA, guaranteed.
In MMA?
Yeah, I'm a natural. You don't understand. I'm a natural wrestler. I just beat my security that's a wrestler. I beat him. I'm strong.
Since he beat his security guard in a wrestling match, Sean O'Malley is no problem, right? I think the old Oscar De La Hoya might be sharing some of his bag with Ryan, if you know what I mean. Like I said before, I think a few leg kicks would be more than enough, but if Ryan somehow starts finding success on his feet against Sean, no matter how much wrestling he does from now until then, he will not be able to stop Sean O'Malley's grappling offense. Although we all know Sean for the beautiful striking he has, his ground game is severely underrated. If you go by wrestling standards, that man landed a takedown against Peter Yan, so if he can do it against him, I'm sure he'll have no problem against a boxer. Sean has been competing at a high level of jiu-jitsu since he started MMA. You can train as hard as you want, but you'll never be able to catch up within that short of time. As strange as it may seem comparing these two to each other, I think Bo Nickel put it perfectly here.
Let's say they get matched up with me for a fight and they got 8 or 10 weeks to prep. I don't know. What are they going to start sprawling? They're going to work on backing up, throwing an uppercut or a knee. It's like, okay, at the end of the day, like there's zero chance they're going to make up really any ground in wrestling, right?
Although Sean obviously does not have an ability to wrestle anywhere near the level Bo can, the current difference is so significant between Sean and Ryan Garcia that this analogy certainly applies. Even if Ryan Garcia was to train wrestling every day like he proclaims he would in the lead up to this potential fight, that means that it takes away from his ability to focus on the striking side of things. You cannot reasonably assume that Ryan has anything close to an advantage on the feet just because the main focus of his is boxing. If you were to put a boxer up against a kickboxer in a kickboxing match, who do you think would win? This is no different. If anything, it is even more one-sided to O'Malley in this case. They would be competing in 4-ounce gloves, something Sean has been using his whole career and something Ryan's never seen before. When it comes down to it, I don't think this fight will ever take place. I believe that Ryan Garcia is just running his mouth trying to get a bit of attention drawn towards his upcoming fight. There's no consequences for him calling out Sean O'Malley other than him receiving hate online from MMA fans who will just call him delusional. And although it be hate is still a form of attention, and that is surely what he is seeking. Another reason I don't think this fight will ever take place is because of Dana White. I think putting on a fight like this in the octagon is not something the UFC really needs to do. But yet again, Dana does love himself some money, and this surely would get tickets sold. Now, a factor that I know would stop this fight from happening is the sanctioning bodies in the modern day. In 2010, MMA wasn't very popularized and safety wasn't as much of a priority as it is now. Even getting Francis and Conor to box was a miracle. But I know for certain that the sanctioning bodies in the United States would not allow a person with 0 professional fights in mixed martial arts to compete against the champion of the world. Cedric Doumbé was set to fight in the UFC, but was declined his ability to because of the lack of MMA fights he has. Ryan Garcia has no MMA fights, so it would be even harder for him to get accepted. Now, if this fight was to take place in boxing, I'm sure it'd be more competitive, but I assume Garcia would get the nod at the end of the day. Let me know how you guys think an MMA fight between the two would play out, and thanks for watching.